Welcome to this edition of At the Mic. I'm your host, Keith Malinak. I cannot say thank you enough for all of the recent donations that you have offered to the podcast. The GoFundMe link, I mean, thank you so much. I am so grateful. This is an independent passion of mine, and I genuinely enjoy bringing it to you. There are obvious costs involved. I recently was tweeting about it on Twitter through At the Mic Show, which you can follow on Twitter, At the Mic Show. Anyhow, y'all are so awesome. What a great audience. You came through in ways that I could never imagine. So thank you sincerely for doing that. Truly appreciate it. Coming up on today's podcast is my former coworker, Rachel Bonilla. Our chat was so much fun, and I hope you'll check it out next. But first, I want to talk to you about coffee. Yeah, coffee's really important to get in your system every morning. More specifically, American Pride Roasters coffee. This month's featured blend, the Jefferson. It's named for one of our most impactful founding fathers. Thomas Jefferson was a big proponent for individual thought. You saw this in his writings. You saw it, the effect that his words had, not only on this country, but for the entire world. American Pride Roasters coffee may not change the world, but it's going to change your world. And if you've never tried aprcoffee.com, please head over there now. You can start with the Jefferson blend. That's what they're featuring this month. It's the perfect drink. Help begin your day with the South American medium roasted blend, a hint of vanilla from real vanilla beans. So delicious. I hope you'll give it a try. So head over to aprcoffee.com. When you do, and you go to the checkout area, look for the special instructions section. Type in offer code ATM. Stands for At the Mic. Those three letters, ATM, gonna get you 10% off of your entire order. So why not try it today? aprcoffee.com.
You're listening to At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production.
Rachel Bonilla is my guest this week on At the Mic. She and I recently sat down. We talked about everything from the state of Florida, hiking around the Dallas Metroplex. Surprisingly, it's not entirely flat, I learned. It's a big area. There's some areas that I'm not familiar with, so she enlightens us. She also details an embarrassing moment that she hopes to never recreate. Let's get to it. Here's Rachel Bonilla on At the Mic. Rachel, thanks for coming in here and chatting with me.
Thanks for having me. It's so brave of you.
It was brave of me? What do you mean? This has happened a lot where the email that I send out with the questions ahead of time, just to, kind of get a gauge of what's going on in your world and everything, kind of where we might take the conversation. The time between the email being sent and actually getting you in here behind the microphone, sometimes there's a wide gap of time, like in this case. You're married.
Yeah.
When you responded to the email, you weren't even engaged yet.
I like to move things quickly.
Obviously. Well, that's cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what is your husband's name?
Zach.
Where did you guys meet?
We met on a dating app, Hinge. I know you've been out of the dating game for a long time, but that's what
I've not even heard of that app.
Yeah, so it's good because it's, instead of just swiping based on looks and things like that, which obviously is a part of it,
Sure.
It prompts questions. So you have to answer, you can pick a few questions that you answer and kind of describe yourself. There's like 4, I think, it's been a while. So you can kind of see what they're about a little bit more than you would like a Tinder or Bumble and things like that. So, and it's linked to Facebook. So somehow the algorithm is, it's through people who know that person. So it's like you have like sometimes 2 degrees, 3 degrees. So
well, that's actually kind of smart, I think. That's pretty cool. So there's some algorithm there that connects you to people that you have in common. Tinder is more of not so much long-term relationship type stuff, right?
That's what I hear. At the beginning, I mean, I have a lot of friends that met their now husbands on Tinder. I think it's shifted over the course of a few years of now it's strictly for not relationships. It's more of just intimacy, immediate intimacy.
That is so well said. Immediate intimacy. Bumble, does it see who's around you?
Yeah, so they kind of all do. You can set your distance. So if you're like, I don't really care, 30 miles away, I'll drive. But it's funny, I actually had mine set for, because at the time I lived in Dallas, I live in Euless now, which is like 30 minutes away. I had it for like 2 miles because I was like, I'm not about to do like Fort Worth.
I need low maintenance dating.
Exactly.
Right now.
So he happened to be in Dallas when we had matched. And I was like, well, that feels cheap. That feels like I got tricked into this. So now I live in the burbs of Euless. So
awesome.
Joke's on me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very happy for you. And I know that you guys share like 3 pets, right?
We do, yeah.
2 dogs and a cat.
Yeah, they're my children. I feel like I birthed them. I love them so much.
What's the dynamic like? Because didn't you is this a blended animal family?
So I actually didn't have any pets.
Oh.
Yeah. I had them like growing up and in Tampa when I grew up in Tampa, but I didn't have any of my own just because I was never home a lot. I was like always doing stuff. So I was ecstatic that he had 3 pets. I'm not really a cat person, but I've grown to love Toby the cat.
Toby the cat.
Toby the cat. He's more of an outside cat, but he comes in for Toby time, which is where he crawls on me and kneads my chest and then sits for 5 minutes and runs away.
So you bonded?
Oh, yeah. I'm his mother.
Okay. And does he hold his own against the dogs?
Yeah. Oh, he is sassy. Yeah. They're his little, he's a sassy cat. Very sassy. That's all I'll say about Toby, poor thing.
No. We had a dog and a cat at one point. And Gert, she was an old timer at the time.
Oh, what a cute name.
Yeah, Gertrude. She was 15 or so when we introduced this crazy out of control puppy. She swatted him a couple times in the nose, drew blood, and that was the end of that.
Wow.
As far as he knew immediately who the boss was, but I just wondered if that was kind of your experience.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah,
that was more of like asserting the dominance. That was more of our first date with each other as opposed to like the animals. But
that's cool. Well, you mentioned you grew up in Tampa, born and raised there, right?
Yes.
So your entire childhood.
Oh yeah.
And you even went to the University of Tampa.
I did. You
really love Tampa.
Yes,
right?
and I'm even wearing a Florida.
I was about to say you're wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl. What is it like to be the fan of a team that wins a Super Bowl? Is that fun?
Well, when you're a fan of a Tampa Bay team who wins a Super Bowl, who was so bad for so many years. I remember when they won against the Raiders, and then it was all downhill from there.
I think 2001-ish, 2-ish, right in there. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, that era.
Yeah.
But for 20 years then.
For 20 years, and then all of a sudden you're like the best team in sports.
This is what is so fun. You're obviously much younger than me because your reference point for the Buccaneers being terrible is the last 20 years. Mine is really the 80s and 90s.
Oh, good.
Until about the late 90s, they were really bad.
Yeah.
And those, remember the orange and red uniform?
I actually love the orange, the throwback.
Those.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite throwback jerseys going, man.
Same.
Love the.
Same.
They need to bring those back more often.
I know.
Okay, so you're just a big football fan then, huh?
Just honestly anything Tampa sports related. Like I do like football. I enjoy watching it. I'm not a consistent. I'm consistent in that I always root for Tampa. But if, let's say, now that I live in Dallas, I root for the Cowboys. If Tampa and the Cowboys were to play, I'd root for Tampa. But if the Cowboys play anyone else, I root for the Cowboys. So I'm not like a diehard. If it's not Tampa, I don't even watch them. So I like watching it, but I'm not like it's Sunday, we gotta crack a cold one. And
that's really become Title Town because you got the Lightning are the reigning champions in hockey. For those that don't know the NHL, had to throw that in there. The D-Rays, or I guess they're just the Rays.
Just the Rays,
I mean, they made it to the World Series.
Yeah, they did.
So I mean, it's happening in Tampa right now. So what was life like growing up there?
It was great. It was always warm, really hot. I didn't realize how much I loved Florida till I moved out of it. And I also didn't realize the reputation Florida had till I moved out of it.
Florida man.
Yeah. Like, don't talk about my cousins like that. So I love Tampa. It's year round. Beautiful sunshine. We lived on the bay, so it was like we were on the water, and the beach was 20 minutes away. Yeah. So I missed that a lot.
You got the Gulf of Mexico on the Tampa side. How long would it take you to get across to the Atlantic side?
Not too long.
Maybe an hour or so?
Yeah, but not. Yeah, because Tampa's like on the edge.
Yeah.
If you look at it on a map, I think that's why we're not affected by hurricanes, because if you look at it on the map, you have the Florida like hook, and then there's like a little tiny enclave of where Tampa is. So it's not too far.
I don't remember. I talked to so many people. I'm trying to remember if this was on the podcast. This may have just been a conversation in my life. There's actually a place called, I don't know what it is, but it's a place where the pirates went to get away from hurricanes inside Tampa Bay. So like inside Tampa Bay, there's even another like something cove or whatever,
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Have you heard of Gasparilla before?
Like a big old, it's some sort of party or something.
It's a pirate invasion. So they basically they re-invade Tampa, and there's a boat parked on the bay all year round, and then about a week before Gasparilla, they bring it out, and it's kind of like, oh, the pirates are coming, and It's basically Mardi Gras during the day, but with pirates. So it's so much fun.
Okay.
So much fun.
That does sound like a lot of fun. Okay. Well, congratulations on your championships in Tampa.
Thank you. Appreciate that. More to come.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Tom Brady is going to live forever, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I as a Falcons fan who has suffered forever and many of the worst moments at the hand of Tom Brady, and now he's in the division, which is so great. I finally became a fan of his when I saw him walk off that boat after your Super Bowl party.
The best video.
Right.
It's the absolute. There's so many people that I know that have like his face on a T-shirt with that look of just like, well, here we go, we're partying.
Was absolutely.
That's Tampa Ratchet. That's what we do.
Well, that's a good segue into when you were a kid. You wanted to be a wine and liquor distributor. Because you had a friend whose parents, right?
Yes.
And that was their job, and you thought that was pretty cool. How old were you when you were thinking, man, I want to trade alcohol?
I was young. I was like 7 because it was a family friend, and he was the coolest guy. He was just such a fun person. And now I know he's probably always drunk, but that's okay. And every time our families would get together, he was just so fun, and he had all the new things, and was just really cool guy. And so he just said, you'd be a really good salesman. You should, when you're old enough, join me and I'll show you the industry.
Wait a minute. When you were 7?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He knew from an early age.
Then why aren't you in, we'll get into what you do, but why aren't you in sales then?
I don't love doing sales. Now, you in my notes, you'll see that I did work for Michaels as a sales associate.
Yeah.
I'm good at sales when it's not pressure to sell. Like if I have to make a quota and I have to sell X amount of by the 30th or I don't get an income, I can't do that kind of stress. I love selling things I believe in, and I love like at Michaels when I would sell crafts. Like it's just cool stuff. This works better than this. Buy this. But the pressure of being a salesperson, I never really liked the idea of. So by the time I realized that when I was old enough, I was like, maybe it's also a hard industry. It's a lot of drinking, a lot of traveling. It's at a certain age, it's a hard industry. It sounds fun. And then once you get to like your 30s, you're like, you know what? This is a lot.
I'm going to need these kidneys later.
Yeah.
I worked at Radio Shack for 4 months. Oh, yeah. It was a great time, Rachel. No. So I worked at Radio Shack for 4 months. We sold cell phones there. I sold one cell phone.
Really?
Because I'm just like you. It's like, I don't want that, And I remember, come at me, Radio Shack. I remember talking people out of stuff,
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm the guy who got fired. I've told this story before, I think several times on this show, that I got let go because I was falsifying company records. That's what they put on my file. What that means is when you came up to the counter to make a purchase, let's say you wanted to buy a battery, that's what you came in there for. You didn't come in there to give me all of your information. I'm not going to ask your name, address, phone number, all this stuff. No, here's your change. So I'm probably the reason Radio Shack went out of business. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
My
Sponsored
bad.
by Radio Shack.
That's right. So you didn't get into the alcohol sales and distribution field. Did you go to college for broadcasting purposes? Because today you are, what is your exact title with Dana Loesch?
Senior producer for her radio TV simulcast.
All right. Very cool. Okay. Did you go to school for that?
Technically, I did. So I started a community college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I mean, I knew I wanted to do something where you got to be around people, and I always thought, okay, well, if I'm not going to do liquor sales, maybe I'll be a college counselor. I always thought that'd be fun. But I just didn't really know, okay, well, what do I want to spend the rest of my life doing? So I got my AA, and then I went to University of Tampa, and I basically had to like decide on a major, and I figured communication was, I like communicating. Why don't I, that sounds broad enough.
I can talk.
Yeah. And then I had to take an elective, so I took a radio show elective where you basically get your own show with a few of people in the class, and I had a lot of fun with it. I loved it, and then I focused on that broadcast more specifically. Mm-hmm. And then I got an internship at the Blaze. Then it was Mercury Radio.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of spiraled. Well, first it was Clear Channel. So, and then it transitioned into, I got another internship.
Clear Channel in Tampa?
Yes.
Okay.
They're now iHeartMedia, so throw back on that. But yeah, in Tampa, yeah. So.
Is that where you started working with Glenn then? Or is it just coincidental?
It's coincidental,
okay.
yeah.
So then when you were at the Blaze, is that when you started working with Dana?
No, so I actually started Liberty Treehouse, if you remember the kids show
Oh my
in New
gosh,
York.
we loved that show.
Yeah, I loved Liberty Treehouse.
Oh,
it was
yes.
the best. It was so much fun. We would do the coolest stuff.
Raj.
Raj, the
Where's
best.
Raj these days?
He's actually in California.
He needs to be on this show, too.
I know. Yeah, he'd be great on this.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down
Definitely.
right now.
He's such a salt of the earth, amazing guy. Just one of the nicest, best in the biz.
Super nice. So you worked on Liberty Treehouse, which was such a great show here on The Blaze.
Loved that show. It was so much fun. So yeah, it was actually funny. I was living in New York at the time, so I had interned, and then they had offered me the job to work on Liberty Treehouse, and it was the best team. It was such a good team. And then Dana Loesch, her show was popping up on The Blaze, and so they needed producers. So Allison and I, who was also with me on Liberty Treehouse, they said, hey, we have an opportunity in Texas. We had actually never been to the studios in Texas before, and we'd always heard about it because it was like, the elusive Texas studios. We were in the big city. And so they flew us down and were like, you can kind of get to know everyone, see if you'd be interested in moving there and working with this new host, Dana Loesch. And we'd seen her fill in for Glenn a few times, so we were like, yeah, she seems nice, fine. So we came down, they, wined and dined us, convinced us that Texas is great. So we ended up moving from Liberty Treehouse to be with Dana, and I've been with Dana ever since. That was 6 or 7 years ago now.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Because now you just work, correct me if I'm wrong, strictly for her.
Yeah, now I'm just on Dana.
And do you like Dallas more than New York?
I do. I mean, it's just more, New York was fun, and I do wish that I had maybe one more year there, just because I feel like it takes a while for it to feel like home and to get comfortable. But I do love Dallas. It's like the best of what Tampa is and what New York is. There's so much to do here, so much to see, but it's nice weather, and the people are really nice, and it can be fast paced, and you can have that aspect of it, or it can be, hey, let's just hang out on a porch and
you don't have to
relax.
go that far out of town to chill out. Zach, is he from Dallas as well?
So funny enough, he was born in California, but he actually lived in Tampa. We didn't know each other in Tampa, but he lived there for about 4 years, and then he moved to Dallas with his family. So he lived in Tampa briefly, but...
Have you guys tried to figure out how close you were to crossing paths in Tampa?
It's funny, I did, yeah, because he played a lot of sports, and my brothers were always doing sports, so it doesn't seem like they ever played each other in those sports, but it seems like close. We could have happened.
So, other than your broadcasting jobs through The Blaze and with Dana and those sorts of things, you've worked at Michael's, you just mentioned about not being a good salesperson or something.
Yeah.
Like, wait, how much are there hard sells at Michael's? I mean,
It's funny. So I worked at Michael's just because I was in college, and I was like, I have time. I should work here. Why not? And I loved shopping there. It was when Pinterest kind of first started. So I was like, oh, this is great. I have it at my fingertips. So there's not a lot of hard sales, but there are people. I mean, we would have regulars who'd come in, and I mean, these Crafton queens who would they come in, they're like, look, I have a big project. I've got this quilt. What do you have new in store? We would get stuff all the time, and they would, scrapbookers, they'll spend, I had never known how much scrapbooking cost someone until I worked at Michael's. The stickers alone, you can get a pack for $20. And you think about filling a whole scrapbook, that's, a couple $100. So there were some pretty big purchases if you get the right one.
I will say, and this happens to me when I go into Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
Oh, love Hobby Lobby.
Okay. When I go into those stores, my stress level goes through the roof, and I'll tell you why. I am constantly walking down aisles right next to breakable things, and I'm awkward. I'm clumsy, and I break things, and I can just feel the stress when I get toward the back of the store, and we're kind of, with like the hobby kits and stuff like that, then I can kind of let my guard down. But if I'm walking through the middle where all the frames are and the pottery and stuff like that, it's a little stressful. But how was it working there?
It was good. I mean, it was fine. The only big problems we would have is people would try to come and huff the spray paint. But other than that, it was pretty non-problematic. It was, I never ran into anything. Oh, yeah. They had to lock it up. Oh, yeah.
What?
If you go in one now, I think they still have them where the certain ones are still like in a box. You have to get permission to get it out.
Okay, because you see like spray areas where I guess people have tested out the colors, but they were using that as an excuse to get high.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's what it was. It wasn't that all these people wanted to see what the color was. They wanted to see what the colors were.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I love on this email how, I asked the question if you have any kids, and you said, none yet. Sorry, Mom. Do you guys plan on having some kids?
We do, yeah. We do. We hope to have at least 2, knock on wood.
Yeah. So Mom can be a grandmother.
Well, so funny enough, when did you send me that?
Oh my gosh.
She now my mom went from, I'm never going to have grandkids. I have 2 older brothers. And she's like, no one is ever going to get married or give me grandkids. And then all of a sudden my brothers get married and they both just recently, about a year and a half ago, both had kids around the same time. So now she has 2 grandkids.
How cool.
So it took the pressure off me, but I know she's dying for me to give her a grandbaby since I'm her princess.
Yes. Okay. It's been 9 months, actually.
Oh, okay. Wow. A lot could have changed by the time.
No. Okay. So 9 months since I sent this email to you. Now, one thing that I know hasn't changed is your mom is someone who's had a big impact on you. Tell us why.
She's just amazing. She is the person I call when I have a question, if I just want to talk to. She's literally my best friend. Like we didn't have a big wedding because the coronavirus, but she would have been my maid of honor. She's just the person I call for everything. I've always been able to tell her everything. Nothing is off limits. She's more so inappropriate than I am. So we just have a lot of fun together.
It sounds like she deserves to be a grandmother.
She does.
Okay.
You know what? I will give her that gift.
Yeah, I hope so. One of the things you enjoy doing, if you have any downtime, is hiking. Okay, now when I think of hiking in DFW, I think that's got to be boring. It's got to be flat. I can think of 1, maybe 2 places off the top of my head in the DFW area. But how is it hiking here?
It's not great. Before the lockdowns and everything happened, Zach has a brother that lives in Colorado Springs, so you could get tickets on Spirit for $70.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you're staying there for free, $70 in the scheme of a weekend is not that much. So we would go and we'd hike and stuff. But in Dallas, I guess it is Dallas, Cedar Ridge Reserve is one place. If you like hiking, you have to go there because it does not feel like Dallas. It actually is very hard. There's a lot of incline. Oh, wow. And it overlooks a lake. Once you get to a certain point, it's really nice. So when I found that's pretty much my go-to. So I think there's 2 or 3 trails within that, so you can kind of switch it up. But if it's not as bad as you would think it would be. There's definitely like flat areas that you can find little walking trails, but there's certain, like South Lake and Colleyville have cute little neighborhood trails that they do the job.
Okay. So just to make sure I got this, you would catch a flight so that you could go and walk. Right?
I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous.
Okay, well, cool. I'll try to find these places, next time I want to go for a walk. No, I didn't understand this answer in the email when I asked, your favorite music genre. And obviously it depends on your mood. I totally respect that. But then you said you love everything except for deep house. What is deep house?
Oh, it's like that. I guess it's like the techno with the like it's just noise.
Hold on. I'm gonna need to hear that again just to make sure I know exactly what you're talking about. What is it again?
Just the
deep house.
Yeah, it's just the noise and like they'll sometimes throw in a word. But it stresses me out. It's just loud noise.
Yeah. Then I've probably heard deep house and just didn't realize it.
Yeah. It's like club music, but like Miami club.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my nightmare. Yeah. It's not fun.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Miami, is there like a big rivalry between cities in Florida, like Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, stuff like that?
Not really. Mm-hmm. Miami gets all the credit for being the cool place to go. I find Miami to be completely overrated. Yeah, no offense to anyone who likes Miami. It's beautiful. It's got its perks, obviously, but it's so expensive. And I feel like Tampa has a lot more to offer because it's so close to so many different great areas that you can kind of get a lot of everything out of Tampa.
It almost seems like Miami is like this area of land that's California in the middle of Florida.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's like Austin, what Austin is to everywhere else in Texas.
Every great state has this one area. Has to ruin it for no. We'll continue with Rachel in just a moment, but first, we need to talk about that pain you're feeling. It just won't go away, because I'm confident that the solution is literally just a click away for you. I am so excited to introduce you to the awesome team over Extreme Wellness. They tell us this story about a lady named Nancy who lives in Utah, spent decades dealing with pain, But when she had to deal with the pain of titanium screws that she had inserted into a fractured ankle, that really had her suffering greatly. You know pain, I know pain. It is not fun. Just getting up in the morning can be a chore, as it was for Nancy, especially when it came to taking care of her family, everything that she has to do in a typical day. But then she discovered Dr. Monroe's pain cream. She only wishes that she had done so sooner. See, unlike other products that can take weeks to build up in your system, Dr. Monroe's pain cream is able to provide targeted relief within minutes. I know, I've tried it myself. It works. After one application, Nancy said she was able to get her mobility back. She got her life back. She doesn't struggle to get out of bed every morning and start her day because of Dr. Monroe's pain cream, and so can you. The pain cream uses patent-pending technology developed by Dr. Stephen Monroe, making this CBD product unlike anything else on the market. You might hear CBD and you kind of have a little bit of a pause there and you're like, I don't know about this. But please understand, the products from Dr. Monroe's CBD are all specially formulated with 0% THC. So you're not going to get that brain fog. There's not a high involved. There's no failed drug tests. You just get all the positives of the hemp plant without any of the negatives. If you aren't sure if CBD is for you, order your risk-free trial for only $19.95. You're going to get your money back if you don't feel better. So visit drmonroescbd.com today and make that pain optional. drmonroescbd.com. Okay, I want to hear about your experience in Italy where you saw Elton John.
Oh, I still feel so bad about this.
Tell us about what happened.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're at this little cute alley cafe, just like having, I forget, I was probably like maybe 9 or 10. We're on a family vacation. We're having crappuccinos and like biscuits or something.
Hold on, you just said crappuccino.
Did I say crappuccino?
You're a Beavis and Butthead fan.
Did I? Wow, that was a slip.
Wow. That's what I heard. I heard crappuccino.
I mean, I do love Beavis and Butthead, so it makes sense.
Ah, yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so we're having crappuccinos and eating biscotti or whatever you eat at a little cafe in Italy. And, you know, everyone just sitting around. And all of a sudden I see this guy walking through the alley. And I look up and I was like, that's Elton John. And then I said it out loud to tell my family, like, oh, cool, there's Elton John. But I was young and excited and loud and my voice carried. So I said, oh, there's Elton John. And no one had noticed him at this point yet until I announced it to everyone. So he's walking with his group and all of a sudden all these people just start berating him and he starts running to his little gondola and they get on this thing. It was like a movie. Gets on his little gondola and sails away with his little entourage. And I still to this day, I'm like, if I ever meet him, I wonder if he remembers that annoying little girl that was like, there's Elton John, when no one was paying any mind to it.
Was he wearing a crazy hat?
No, he wasn't. What? He had like a cloaky jacket on. Yeah. I do remember that, but yeah, no crazy hat.
Was he wearing
glasses? Yes, with like the tinted color. Yeah.
Okay.
He was. Cool. I think that's what stood out to me because it's like as a kid, that's the kind of things you recognize when you see someone.
As he sailed away, were you like, so that's a no on the autograph?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. All right. You played sports growing up?
I did, yeah.
Are you still playing sports today?
No, it's funny you say that because I was just looking into joining like a co-ed softball team or like something to like do that's active and you can meet people and just have fun because I feel like everything it becomes like so mundane and after a while.
I don't know how old you are. You're substantially younger than me. I know.
32.
Okay. Well, then you still have a few years left. But I hit right at 40 and the body said, stop.
Really?
Stop it.
Oh.
And that was after a big surgery. I had my non-throwing arm completely reconstructed.
Ooh.
From a softball injury, ironically.
Really?
But I came out of retirement, so to speak, and I played one game. I could feel that my right arm was going to need a major surgery, and I said no. I could barely get through this one.
Really?
Non-dominant arm, and so it hurts. I mean, I feel the pain and all that good stuff when I throw a wad of socks at my kids upstairs. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you guys left this down here. I mean, it hurts just doing that.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, you got a few years if you want to give it a shot. But did you play growing up then?
I did. So I played softball growing up, and then I played flag football in high school. What else did I feel like I played other things? But I was on track, things like that. So
like you were good, right?
Yeah, I was good.
How good?
Well, I was the captain of the flag football team.
Okay.
And I
What position did you play in football?
I was a rusher, so I was the person that was hopefully supposed to get the quarterback before they get there. Were you too?
Well,
Wow.
I mean, that is the fun position.
It is the fun position.
I don't want to chase people down and cover them. The most fun is trying to ruin somebody's day.
Yeah, and you like bark at them, so it's like you can just have so much fun with it.
Talk trash.
Yeah.
This is going to sound pathetic because it is, but my big claim to fame, I sacked the Charleston Southern quarterback in flag football.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Wow.
Yes, thank you.
That is actually very impressive.
It was one time. They killed us like 50-0. But anyway, continue. So you were into sports.
Yeah, I always enjoyed playing. It was funny because I had two older brothers who did like baseball and soccer and things like that, but they don't like watching sports. So I've always been like my dad's guy to watch sports with. So
Wait a minute. They played sports, but they didn't watch sports?
Yeah, it's bizarre. My middle brother, David, he'll watch soccer sometimes, but Victor, like, he, for the first time, watched the Super Bowl this year. And we were all like, you don't even know what's good. Like, don't chime in on the group chat. You don't know what's happening. Like, just stop.
Does Zach enjoy sports?
Oh, yeah. He's a big sports guy. He played hockey. He did paintball. Nice. He golfs pretty much, it feels like, every day. So he's very active. And
so then sports is in both of you guys' blood.
Yeah.
That's great. I love this life goal, if you will. You know, I just ask if there's something that you might want to accomplish in your lifetime. You want to win an Emmy. What do you want to win an Emmy for? Acting, producing? What are we talking about?
Producing. It would be really cool to do that. I know when I worked on Liberty Treehouse, the kids show in New York, we had applied for one. You never know how far you get in the process of it, but it was cool just to kind of like the idea of, oh wow, we could potentially win one. So, it might happen one day, so hopefully it does.
It seems like the process, and maybe I'm wrong, I've not looked into it. It seems like it would be a lot of work to try to, I don't want to say register.
It is, yeah.
To try to get nominated or to, do you have to submit?
Oh, yeah. You have to submit
my best work and all that stuff?
So much stuff. You have to submit just an unbelievable amount of paperwork. That's why I'm like, we'll see what happens. But
and if you don't win, it's like, that was
all that
it.
for nothing. Yeah, and they might not even look at it. So it's just kind of one of those things. Maybe we'll win one for this podcast. So
are you gonna put in the paperwork for it?
I can work on that. Maybe find someone to do that for us.
Not convincing at all. I'll be sure to find a link and I'll send it to you, and then I'll wash my hands of it.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
You alluded to it earlier. It's also in your email. There's a part of you that has always wanted to be a school counselor?
Yeah, I love the idea of doing that.
And why does that stand out in your mind as something you might want to do someday?
Well, when I was in high school, we had these things called peer mediators, where it was basically the guidance counselor would have two kids be in a mediation, and you would help mediate a student who was having, whether it was they got in a fight or they were having issues at home, and you'd kind of just talk to them basically as peers, because a lot of times it's hard for kids to talk to the counselor because they're adults and they're authority figures.
Okay.
So I would do that as in high school, and I loved it. It was really cool connecting with people on that level of, hey, I'm trying to help you, like here's advice for you. So I loved doing that, and I find that giving back is something that I'm really passionate about. So it's one of those things that if I could go back and do school over, I'd probably do that, go into that field of, counseling, something like that. I think now it's one of those things that I kind of wish I had done, but I don't regret it. But, I try to volunteer more to fulfill that need.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that your boss, Dana Loesch, won't listen to this and hear that. So what's this? You want to be a school counselor? No, but the other thing is that you're immersed in politics all day, as am I. And I think something similar between us is that we both despise politics, but yet we work in that field. So I could see that being a reprieve to you would be completely disconnected from politics and that. Are there ever days when you're working in this field? Remember, Dana's not going to listen to this. Do you ever just you find yourself having to care about stuff in the news that you just wish that you were completely oblivious to and could just live in blissful ignorance?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. All the too often, probably more often than not.
Yeah.
Really? this is the big deal.
This
We're getting worked up over this. So that is the hard part of like, you have to be in it and be focused on it and basically live it.
Yeah. Oh, 24/7. And that's where you're like, man, I should have done something with that alcohol distribution job.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
where did I go wrong? That was a path I could have chosen. But speaking of paths you could have chosen, you were so close to living in Australia, right?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So that's actually an insane story. It's one of those things where you're like, wow, one decision could change your entire life.
Right.
This was at UT. So I was doing that radio show, and I had been also interning at Clear Channel at the time, and they had an opportunity to do a study abroad in Australia for your last semester. So it was about to be my last semester of college, and at that time, Clear Channel reached out and they had offered me a job. And I had just submitted the paperwork that, like, I was literally on my way to submit I had filled it out. I was submitting my paperwork to go, hey, I want to study abroad. Here's my paperwork. Let's do this. And I got the call from my internship boss where he was like, hey, we want to put you on part-time as a promotions assistant. And I was like, wow, either I go to Australia and have this really fun last semester, or I accept that I'm about to be in the real world and might not get an opportunity. It might be really hard to find a job, because at that time it was 2013, 2012. And it was kind of like, do I jump in? And
did you think that, man, the timing on this is so spectacular, this must be a sign, anything like that?
Yeah, I did. And it was crazy because I didn't know which way was the sign. I was like, do I go and have this great adventure in Australia, somewhere I've always wanted to go, potentially, meet the love of my life and live there, and it'd be great, or
But then your kids would talk funny for the rest of their life.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, maybe not.
That's fun.
But that I can tell you was my first adult decision I've ever had to make, where I was like, okay, I need to be responsible and have a job out of college.
After that moment, did you ever regret not going to Australia? I'm not talking about right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad you met Zach and everything's worked out.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, has there been a time over the last, 8-9 years where you've been like, man, I should have gone to Australia?
Yeah, I mean, there has been, because it's almost like when you're immersed in your life and, you get, you're a couple years into your career and you're thinking, how did I even get into this world? Like, how am I even in this? Like I said, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I kind of got into radio because it was really fun when I did this class, and it ended up being a really great journey. But you kind of look back and you're like, whoa, this is bizarre that I'm this far and this is my life. And, you never know. If I had gone to Australia, maybe I would have been a body surfer and done something different.
I mean, it used to be a penal colony. I don't know that it's going to be that great of a story.
Yeah.
Let's touch on your earliest memory. You got a chest full of dolls when you were 3 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, that sounds like a gold mine for a little girl. What happened?
I just remember going into the garage. I don't know if it was my birthday. It had to be, because it wasn't like they would just give me chests of dolls all the time. And it was this pink chest of dolls that just my mom and dad had. And it was basically like a trunk type thing that you would bring to camp, but it was filled with dolls. And I just remember opening it and holding all these dolls and being like, oh my, I have a whole like community of new dolls.
Seriously?
Yeah. And I don't know, it just, that one like moment sticks out. I don't remember why I had
them.
You
don't even know what that was all about?
Yeah, I'm assuming it was a birthday, but I don't.
Okay, but hang on. As you grew up, you're 4 years old, you're 5 years old, you're 6 years old. Did you have all of these dolls, or?
I don't
You don't
know.
even remember?
I don't even remember. I was pretty spoiled, so I did have a lot of toys.
At least you admit it.
Yeah. I mean, I was the youngest and the only girl. So.
I was about to say, you were the only girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's understandable.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. I mean, that has got to be prime position.
Oh, the best.
Because, like you said, you said you were the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
You were because by the time we have 3 kids, Carrie and I, and the youngest. I mean, it's like the first kid. You're constantly checking.
All hands on deck.
You'll go through this. You'll be like, oh my gosh, is the kid breathing?
Yeah.
Does it have everything it needs in here? By the time you get to the third one, you're like, is there clothing on it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get up and go and check. Everything's fine. It just
Walk it off.
So you you had some freedom then, probably that your older brothers did not.
Oh yeah, lots of freedom. Lots of
But
freedom.
at the same time, now that I think about it, being the only girl, there wasn't a level of protection, or was it just the point where?
Yes and no. So my dad is the nicest guy, but he's Colombian and he's dark and he's got dark hair and he's really tall. And I'll never forget, I brought my first boyfriend in high school home to meet my parents. And he says, hey, Brent, can I talk to you for a second? You want to come out here? And my mom and I were like, what is happening?
No.
And he's like the goofiest guy. He reminds me of Phil from Modern Family, so just to paint a picture for you. And he looks like the Spanish Mitt Romney, so there's like a full picture for you. He takes him outside, and Brent and him come in, and he's just got this look on his face. And I was like, what did you say to him? This was like my first love. Mm-hmm. And he goes, nothing. Mom told me to talk to him, so I told him that if he hurts you, I'm going to beat up his mother. I was like,
okay.
Oh, right. Well,
I think this is going to go well, Dad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, to some extent, there was that level of protection, but overall, I mean, they were never like overbearing and, my little princess. They never made me feel like I couldn't do something or something like that.
Now, we talked about this earlier, and I said you have a few more years left of sports if you want to do that. I just read this answer of this next question I'm going to ask, and it makes me ache. Like it makes me feel pain just thinking about your most embarrassing moment.
Oh, I was hoping that somehow you didn't see this because as soon as I answered it, I was like, why would I tell anyone this?
Right. I tried to do a running wall twerk at a party and busted my butt.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
How do you do what is a running wall twerk?
Oh my God. So you know how like in music videos there'll be girls like standing upside down on the wall twerking?
What's a music video? They still make those?
They do.
So standing upside down twerking?
Yeah. So basically you put your feet on the wall for support and then you gyrate.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was, we go to the beach every year, my best friends and I, and it was it was one of those, like, we were having a dance party and it was so much fun. And my friend Olivia she was a choreographer, like cheerleader and all that. So she was showing us, okay, here's how you do it, like running and jumping to do it. Basically, it's like a somersault roll. Oh. And then you land with your feet upside down.
Yeah.
And we had practiced it and I was like, oh, I got this. Oh. So we're like at the neighbor's condo, whatever.
How old were you?
I was old enough to know better. I was probably 19 or maybe like 20, 21.
Oh, so if you weren't of drinking age yet, there was no alcohol influence.
Of course not.
Okay.
That's
weird.
Not.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, actually, you want to say that there was.
But no, there were copious amounts of alcohol.
I was about to say, otherwise, I did this sober.
It was.
I don't know which tells better.
Yeah, it's also bad. It's also bad. And the worst part I had left out of the notes was when I did that and fell, there was an armoire, like a TV armoire to the right of me, and I fell on that and almost broke the whole thing. So it was just a really bad scene. I like think about it and it hurts. Like it not pain. Like I didn't hurt myself. It's the embarrassment of like, wow, people probably still talk about that.
So, is there anybody that was present at that party that is still present in your life?
Oh yeah, all my Tampa friends, all my group of girlfriends, they all still like to talk about it. And it's one of those things that we'll never not talk about.
That's fun. So, because you said that you had a small wedding because of COVID and it ruined everything, continues to. Do you think that? Did you have like a reception or something like that? Because it sounds like all of your friends need you to recreate that in a wedding dress.
Yeah, and that's the dream. I said I wanted to win an Emmy, but that is the dream, is to recreate that in a wedding dress.
No. to actually have could you throw like a little wedding party?
We're planning on doing that because
good.
It did work out, though, I will say. We had planned the big wedding, and that was what we were going to do. We both wanted that. And then it just logistically was a nightmare because at that point he proposed in June, like during the heart of the pandemic. Right. And we were planning, and at that time we had no idea where this was going, how long it was going to take, if there was going to be vaccines or whatever was going to be the case. So the more we planned it, we were like, we'll have to wait maybe 2 or 3 years to do this. So we decided let's just do a small family wedding, and then when everything gets back to normal, we'll do a reception. So that's our plan, to do a reception.
That's good.
But it worked out that like there was no stress in planning. It was just my parents, his parents, my brothers, his brothers, in my parents' backyard. We had a really nice dinner afterwards, and it was like the best case scenario. And we still got like presents and stuff, so it was literally best case scenario.
You might get more if you do a thing later too. You never know. So 9 months ago, when you replied to the email with the questions, one of the things you mentioned in here was that you had just bought your first car. Is it doing okay?
It
9
is,
months
knock
later?
on wood.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's funny actually you say that, because
no.
the only bad thing is I got a letter the other day that something is the dealership is not a recall, but it's something with the technology in all these cars that are saying bring it in if you've been having these issues, no charge if you
update or something.
Yeah, which I have had kind of the tech issues where it's like it doesn't connect to my phone and things like that, but it's going well so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going well.
that's the thing about these cars, man. Everything is electronic or touch screen now. So congratulations. So it's working out.
Thank you.
What kind of car did you get?
Acura RDX 2020.
That sounds fast.
Yeah, I drive really. I am like a fast driver. Yeah,
You and me
knock
both.
on wood.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah. Be careful out there.
Yeah,
I can give you some pointers on where some speed traps.
yeah.
are.
Well, I've seen them.
I think we're on the same side of town. So I think, yeah. But you know, though, who drives faster than probably you and definitely me is Pat Gray.
Really?
The show that I produce on The Blaze. That man gets tickets
Does he?
every day of the week.
Wow, I've only gotten a ticket one time.
See, women, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what that is.
Well, it's funny because I thought I'd get out of it because I was on the way to work and it was a school zone and I was going 30 and a 20. And I honestly didn't
30
realize.
and a 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that I did realize it was a school zone. I'm lying, but it was an odd time of day. Usually I would, because I would drive to work on this road, and usually it would be an hour later. But we were pre-recording that day, and I get pulled over, and I had never been pulled over, and I'd been pulled over. I had never gotten a ticket, so I was like, oh, he's gonna see that I have a clear, sheet, whatever. And I told him like, oh, thank you for what you do. And I tried to like not suck up, but I was like, I genuinely appreciate what you're doing. And like, I really didn't mean to be speeding. I'm sorry. And he still gave me a ticket.
You think they're allowed to give warnings in school zones?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not school zones. But I did get pulled over once when I worked at Clear Channel, and I was driving the big radio van with the antenna that you put up, and it's like a huge freaking thing.
Yeah.
And I got pulled over. I was going like 80 in that thing, and you don't drive that fast in those. But I think it was super late, and I wanted to get home. And he pulls me over, and he didn't give me a ticket, which I don't know why, because he was so rude to me. He literally, he said, "Now you can't go that fast in this car on this highway. There's a speed limit, but I'm sure you can afford the ticket, so I'm just going to give you a warning." I was like, well...
Okay, hold on. We've got to address this, because I feel like that's come up on this podcast before as
Really?
well, is that there is such a misperception that people in radio make tons of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that is.
I know.
Because you're
a celebrity in a way. If you have listeners, if you're on like a morning show and everyone's like, I listen to you every day before work and school, like... That seems like some sort of celebrity.
I guess, but please, let's just be very clear to anyone listening right now. Stop that.
Yeah.
And don't
donate
write
to our
tickets.
Venmos.
Yeah, yes. And by the way, you can donate. There's a GoFundMe page posted right now at themikeshow.com. But anyhow, have you ever been pulled over and really, really put on the feminine charm? Come on, be honest.
Well, I thought I did, and I got a ticket in a school zone. That was because the other time I had never been pulled over when he was like, you couldn't afford it anyway. And he was mean to me. So I thought, oh, I'm definitely going to ticket. And I cried just because I was genuinely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's why I didn't get one in that moment, because I think he felt bad after he said it, and I started crying. But when I put on the charm to be like, oh, thank you for your service. And he was young.
Yeah.
Like he was, I thought for sure, oh, I could, work it a little bit.
Work it, yeah, okay, so...
Didn't work.
No, I have no idea how many times I've been pulled over in my life. I'm just sitting here. Let's just spitball it. 10, maybe?
Wow.
I don't know. And the one time I got a warning, check this out, I got pulled over. And he was back at the car for a long time. And I thought, come on, man. And it was stupid. I was not happy. And he comes running back to my car. And I'm like, what is happening? And he literally throws into the driver's seat my license and this warning thing. He goes, as a warning, just be safe. Be careful out there. And then he sprints back to his car, turns on his siren, and takes off. And I'm like, I don't know who just robbed a bank.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, well, you got lucky.
Let's see here. Oh, I like this here. Your regret that you wish you had started saving money in high school. I have the same thought so many times. I was actually, after college, I remember I worked at a golf course. And I remember one of the members telling me, just save this amount every paycheck, just save this percentage for the rest of your life, and you'll be set. It's like you can invest it, you can save it, however you want to do it, but if you just save this amount, you'll be fine. And I'm like, that's easy enough. And I think maybe for like 5 paychecks, like, I got this, But then something happens. Maybe the car breaks down, or I don't know, I want to eat this month. Something like that. And you just kind of get out of that habit and it becomes more of a sporadic thing. Mm-hmm. But more than just saving over the last, 25, 30 years, wouldn't it have been great if you had just taken $100 and bought Bitcoin 9 years ago? Mm-hmm. Do you ever have those moments where you're just like, I should have done this when I thought about it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, all the time. Yeah. Gosh. But I will say I am super cheap. Mm-hmm. That is one thing. I'm very cheap.
Me too.
And I am a good saver now. I started saving when I turned 18, and my mom was like, you need to open a Roth. You're 18, like you need to save money. Contribute to your Roth and max it out. So since I've been 18, I've been saving. So I do have a good nest egg. So I have been good, but had I started, 4 years before that.
Listen to you. You're like, I lost 4 years of saving. I'm like, well, I lost 40. God, I got it.
When you find out how cheap I am, it makes more sense.
Well, I'm cheap too. So.
Well, I'm so cheap that before I used to come to work, when I worked here, I used to wait to go to the bathroom because I didn't want to use my toilet paper. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I was about to say, oh, yeah, well, I'm so cheap. But you already won.
Yeah, I started high, so there was nowhere for you to go.
I mean, checkmate. Yeah. So even though you're cheap, open up your phone.
Okay.
Why don't you share with the class what's in your Amazon cart? If you can. It is.
I'm not a huge Amazon. Like, if I see something that I want, usually it's like the other day I've been swimming more now at my indoor gym at the gym, and indoor pool at the gym.
Oh, okay.
I like the
I thought that's kind of weird. They took a gym and they put it inside the gym. Sorry, I'm being a jerk. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And so I wanted this like snorkel thing. So I sent it to Zach because he has Prime because I'm too cheap. I'm like, I'm not paying for Prime. Like, I don't order enough stuff. I'm not a big like online shopper.
You're not on the same account yet?
No.
Get on that.
Should we? Yeah. I have all his login and stuff. It's just for whatever reason it's not on my phone. And I'll send it to him and then he'll order it. So it's more of like...
Poor Zach.
I know. Yeah. It's great for me.
Definitely newlyweds, y'all. Yeah. Right here.
But I really don't... I'm not an online shopper because it's like I love going to the store. I love running errands. So if I want something, like I'll just go to the store. If it's something like that where it's like I don't even... There's no like Sports Authorities anymore. So I'll just get it on Amazon.
What's your mom's name?
Carol.
When you become a grandmother... She will stop saying things like, I love running all these errands and all these. When she has kids, when you have kids, you're going to be like, just whatever, Amazon will get it here tomorrow. I don't have time to go to the store and
I know.
pick things out. But
those are the things I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss this.
Do you guys have names picked out?
We do. Yeah. So I like the name. It's funny you said Gertrude earlier.
Oh.
Not Gertrude.
I was going to say.
But similar. So my great grandma was named Gertrude, but they called her Goldie. And I love that name. And I found out I was going to be named Goldie and I wasn't. And I loved it the second my mom told me that that's what they would call her. So Goldie for a girl. And then his grandpa's name was Milton. Yeah. But obviously that would never be a name I'd give my child. No offense to the Miltons out there.
You'd probably buy him a red stapler.
Yeah, exactly. But he went by Jack. So we for a girl, Goldie, for a boy, Jack.
Oh, cool.
I just think it's cute.
Oh, that's exciting. I hope that happens soon for y'all.
Thank you.
Have we covered everything? Is there anything that I've missed? Anything that you want to Tell us now. I see you're on Twitter, but I never see you on Twitter.
Oh, I'm a lurker on Twitter. I literally follow people and get what's going on in the world, but I don't post. Do
you want to share those handles with us now?
I honestly don't even know my Twitter handle.
I've got
like, to be honest, I have no idea what it is.
I mean, if you don't want me to share it, I don't
You
have
can. It's no different to me.
Let's see. We got RVB813. Hang on a second.
813 is Tampa's area code. That checks out.
I was about to say, don't put your birthday.
Yeah, I know.
That's the worst. Okay, so RVB813 on Twitter, and on Instagram you are Rach Bonilla, which is RACH Bonilla. And if you can't spell Bonilla, I can't help you. Just look at the title of the show notes here on the podcast. Well, Rachel, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and introducing you to the audience. And thanks to Carol for being awesome out there. Okay?
Appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thank you. It is always so great when I can sit down with people that I know, but I don't really know their story. Folks, that I've worked with, that I just never had more than a couple of minutes in the break room. Rachel was one of those persons. It was great having her on this week on At the Mic. I wish I'd done so sooner, and I really appreciate the time that she gave us today. I've worked with so many awesome, talented people, and it's just great to get some time with them. Speaking of talented people, thriller writer Brad Thor is my guest next week. Now, June may not be National Reading Month, but it feels like it's shaping up that way on At the Mic. We had Jack Carr just a couple of weeks ago. So we're into books this month here on At the Mic. So Brad Thor is going to be chatting with us. We're going to discuss his life story as well as his brand new book for all of those who have been itching for what's next. As always, I want to thank you for being a part of this audience. I encourage you to share this podcast with your friends. Just send them the link to the website at themicshow.com. Tell them, look around. Find an episode. There's more than 50 of them. Just pick one that you want to check out. If they enjoy good conversation, then hopefully they will continue to join us here at themicshow.com. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your amazing financial support through that GoFundMe link. I'm so grateful. And thank you for spreading the word. Until next week, go be free. And thank you for listening to At the Mic.
This has been At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production. Head to atthemicshow.com for archived episodes, sponsor information, and ways to connect.